most of the Kenyans who live and work abroad don't like it there. They want to come back home. I'm saying this from the point of view of someone who has had clients who live abroad. I'm talking about people who live in Australia. Those are the people that I've interacted with. Australia, Canada, US, UK, and Germany. But we who live here back home, we are taking advantage of them. We are exploiting them in the name of black tax. Let me clarify this before you rage up. I'm talking about someone who is working in Qatar, who is getting paid 70,000 Kenyan shillings, who is working day and night, someone who has 2 jobs, trying as much as they can to work hard, save the money that they have so that they can have financial freedom. That's why they left this country anyway, because there's more money outside. For most of us, or depending on the type of person that you are, you want to go abroad, or the reason why you'd want to go abroad is because there's more money there. Here we struggle, we work a lot, but we get paid less. But abroad, you get paid more, comparing that to what you get paid in Kenya. Of course, it depends, but I think you're getting what I'm saying. But you're sacrificing the warmth. Some of these countries are cold. Countries like Canada. And some of the clients that I've interacted with, they complain of the weather. They miss back home, but they stay back there because they want to make money. But what's stopping them is the money that they make there. They want to make more, and honestly, you make more money there than here if you were to look at the same job. Well, again, it depends. But think about someone who knows very well that they can never make 70,000 Kenyan shillings per month here in Kenya. They know very well, they live back in the village. So they decide to sacrifice the warmth of being back home, interacting with their family members, to go abroad and hustle and do house help work, clean the loos, do that type of hustle for the sake of making that 70,000 shillings that they know they'll never make. Now, the issue comes in where we who are here in Kenya, some of us or most of us, are exploiting them in the name of black tax, in the name of them feeling obligated to send us money back home. I have stories from people who live in Canada. I have stories from people who live in Qatar. And there are certain common themes that show up on all of these people. And one of them is the theme of hard work. Those countries, you can't afford to be lazy. By being lazy, I'm talking about some of us, or most of us here in Kenya, we are privileged to, or we are supposed to work up to 5 p.m., but you might sneak out at 3 p.m. You work for the government, or depending on your workplace. But there's like a strict time schedule. You have to work from this hour to this hour. You are paid by the hours that you work. So they're more strict in terms of time, and they make, and of course they make money depending on time. So you can't afford to be lazy there. You have to work. If it's 2 jobs, you have to work those 2 jobs in as much as it's going to cost you 14 hours of work. People do that because they're hustling and looking for money, which honestly, if you were to compare there and here, you can make more there. In fact, someone was telling me, somebody who lives in the US and also in Australia, because it's a common theme, that if work starts at 8, it starts at 8. If it's an 8-hour shift, it's 8 hours shift. The other common theme that I have seen in people who work and live in diaspora is sending money back home. That keeps popping up every single time. They have to send money back home, and it makes sense because probably a village helped you go abroad. A village helped you raise money for the air ticket to Qatar. And since you're now in Qatar, you feel obligated, which may not be a bad thing because you want to send money back to the people who showed you love, to the people who contributed money to you so that you could enjoy what you're enjoying, though in actual sense you are hustling, which of course makes sense. So there's that aspect of sending money back home, which is not a bad thing. You have to send money to your parents. You have to take care of their medical bills. That's not the issue. The issue is not sending money back home. The issue comes in when there's exploitation involved. Someone calls you in the middle of the night asking you to send them money. And in fact, it's not just small money. Someone is telling you, send me 200K urgently. The first time you do that, the second time you do that, you even hustle, you work 3 jobs, you do 4 jobs. This is from the perspective of people who work there. They get the money, they send money back home. But it doesn't stop. it's something that is recurring. When you look at the psychology and the behavior of us humans, is that once we get used to receiving something from people, it's not just even receiving money from people, assuming that if I send you money every single month out of my own will, and this one specific month I didn't send you anything, because it's become a pattern, you're going to feel offended. Why didn't you get it this month? In as much as it's something that is not mandatory. So there's that concept. For us who live here, we don't understand how hard these people work. In fact, a friend was telling me that some of these people who have gone abroad, they can't even afford an air ticket. Okay, they can afford one. It's just that they have to balance between coming back home and saying hi to their family and friends, which is only going to last like a week. So spending that 100K worth of a ticket, they have to choose between saving that 100K or coming back home to greet their parents for 1 week and go back. And they try to convince themselves, okay, let me just not go home this year. I'll go home next year. They keep on postponing saving their money, which is a good thing or it's a bad thing, depending on how you view it. But now the 100K that they've saved up, for us who are living here, we are calling them, telling them to send us this money, and they send us this money. So what's the point there? We are all seeking financial freedom. That's why most of us are going abroad, so that we can make more money, elevate our lives. You know, we have goals. But when worst gets to worst, where you keep on sending money to the same people, these people don't invest their money, they spend their money, they have the latest iPhone. Someone was telling me that they used to send their brother money, and when they look at where the money went to, they own the latest gadget, and this is someone who's in campus. So you want to show off with the money that your sister or your brother or your aunt sent you from abroad, instead of investing it. And it's something that we felt entitled to. So the issue is mainly entitlement. Are these people really entitled to send us money that they've worked hard for every single month? When will they elevate their lives? That's my question. The other theme that keeps on popping up from my interactions with people living in diaspora is that there is the theme of deception and lies. Us back home, we like lying. I think it's become a norm for us, especially when we want money from friends or we are borrowing money from friends. We like lying. Like, just send me some 700 bob, send me 2K shillings right now. I'm going to return it. There's that concept. I think we are so used to lying to borrow money. And of course, lies and money and deception, they're all interconnected. Again, this one is in line with the entitlement, where people have to send us money back home. And for us who are living here, we try to come up with lies, telling them, okay, you know, my kid is sick. I need to start a business. So somebody sends you 50K, 100K to start a business, but you don't start the business. You eventually spend the money. You don't know where the money went to. And you go back, you say, you know, I need money to restock. That's something that comes up. So the people living in diaspora, eventually they notice. 1 year down the line, they notice, okay, my kinsmen, my family members are exploiting me. That's why they cut off these relationships. That's why they're like, okay, it's okay if everything goes sour anyway. I live abroad. I live in Dubai. And if ever I come back, which will be like once in a year, it's still fine. So in some way, our lies and deceptions, as people who are living here in Kenya, in Africa, I don't know if this happens. I think it's a universal thing, especially here in Africa. Feeling entitled and using lies and deceptions to extort money from our family members is not a nice thing. And this is what ruins relationships. You find someone went abroad for 20 years, they've never stepped back, they've never come back home, and they don't want anything to do with you. Eventually, it's going to affect our relationships. The other theme that pops up every single time I have this interaction with people who've lived abroad and people who are living abroad is in terms of there's no social life. Think about it. You've gone to the US for the first time, you've gone to Qatar, to Dubai, your work is to work. You work 6 times in a week or 7 times in a week. You hardly know anyone, and it's going to take time for you to integrate into the community. It's going to take you even 5 years, 3 years. I don't know if you are living in diaspora and you're watching this, how long did it take you to integrate with the local communities of the country that you went in. For most of them, they feel lonely being there. But what keeps them moving is money. The fact that they can get a paycheck and a higher paycheck abroad than what they can get here keeps them there. And they tell themselves, that's why they advise us that please don't come abroad if you have a good paying job. Just stay in Kenya. It's warmer here in Kenya. Okay, the weather is warm, but the people are warm. They look like us. They are our skin. Of course, racism is still there. We can't lie about that. That's why they give us that advice. But for some of us, when we look at that advice from that lens, we're like, these people don't want us to go abroad so that we can also enjoy what they are enjoying. These people are just lying to us. But it's true. I had someone tell me the other day that if you're making good money here, you have a good paying job, that you can actually consider it a good paying job. You don't have to worry about your car, your fuel, everything is nice. You have a nice house. Don't go abroad to work there. That's the advice they give. But if you are not there, then just go abroad because now it's about money. But if you have the money, it's not about money. It's money and comfort and these other things. So now we're trying to compare making money and having a social life. That's why most of them are there to just collect money, save money, save money, save money, so that they can come back home 10 years down the line. They don't want to stay there. That's the truth for some of them. The people who don't feel at home, the ones who have not yet integrated with the community, they still have it here. So those are some of the common themes. The other theme that pops up every single time that is actually similar to the one that I talked about, hard work, is that they sacrifice. Imagine going abroad and staying there for 5 years without seeing your mom, without seeing your brother, without interacting with your nieces. You've sacrificed relationships to go abroad to look for money. That's why we need to be gentle when we are asking for money, because that's one of the things that took our friends and families to go abroad. Money. So they have to sacrifice money for comfort. Like I said, some of them sacrifice their air ticket cost to save it, which we eventually extort from them. Allow me to use extortion. Some of them don't even relax. They work 14 hours straight. And when they're resting, they're sleeping. When they wake up, they're back to work. That is a common thing, especially in the USA, because that's where I've noticed it. But for these other countries, European countries to be specific, I had someone tell me about Germany. At least there they are strict in terms of the number of hours that someone can work. If it's 40 hours, no, I think it's 50 hours. Please correct me. Someone can only work for a maximum of 50 hours in a week. You can't get a second job if it's going to affect that, because they care about your mental well-being. So it's not just about the money. So the reasoning behind that, as the friend explained to me, is that assuming that you go an extra 20 hours and you work an extra 20 hours a week, or an extra 30 hours a week, like you do the night shift and you do the morning shift, let's say that you work 14 hours in a day and it's consistent, it's going to affect you mentally. It's going to affect your health. And remember, your mental health is a cost to them. It's free there. Access to education, access to healthcare is free regardless of your status. So it's going to be a cost on the government if you fall sick, if you have mental issues. One, you'll stop working because you have a mental breakdown, or you will have a mental breakdown, or you're sick, which is of course affecting them in terms of their revenue collection, since you're going to be taxed. Is that reasoning? There's also the reasoning that it's going to be a cost on the government to pay for your medication. So why not just prevent than cure? That was the reasoning that the friend in Germany gave me. So apart from those countries that really care about your mental well-being, in the US, it's rushing. You can even work 3 hours, or rather you can even do 3 jobs and nobody cares. There are no laws to protect you. So our friends and family members who work abroad, they are hustling. They're doing 3 jobs, 5 jobs, so that when they come here, they have a plot of land, they have investments that can make them more money. You don't have to go back and hustle again and sacrifice again. But what do? We exploit them. We want them to keep on sending us money every single time. So my plea to you is this: if you're someone who receives money from someone who works abroad, if it's your sister, if it's your brother, if it's your father, If you're receiving any money from someone who works abroad, who is really hustling, who's really pushing him or herself, use the money that you have to invest. I actually remembered a true story. There was this brother who was working abroad. So he used to send money to his sister here in Kenya. He used to send money to his dad, to his parents. And what he did is that at one point in time, he sent a lot of money that his sister purchased an Airbnb. So she started an Airbnb business. Now that the sister has a source of income, she no longer asks money from her brother because she has a source of income. Those are the type of investments that we need to have. The dad received the money, the dad invested the money, bought a car, and the car is being used for Uber. Someone else is using the car and giving him the money. So that's the type of reasoning that we need to have as people who are receiving money from our friends and families that are sending us money from abroad. Let's invest the money other than consume it, other than buy the latest gadgets, which is still fine. But think about investment so that you don't have to continuously depend on someone who's working abroad, so that you can make your own money, and the money that they're making, they can focus on themselves. They want to have a better life. They have goals. They want to have a car. They have loans. Yes, people who are living abroad have loans. It's just that they might not tell you how they are suffering. Let me call it suffering. They might not tell you that because, I mean, you're the one who's working abroad. You're the one who's getting more money. So they can't tell us sometimes. They have loans. They want to build a home here in Kenya. They want to come back home. How is that going to be possible if we keep on siphoning money? If we keep on siphoning money from them? How? How will they develop? How will they achieve the goal that forced them or pushed them to go there in the first place?